This tutorial is about using the oscilloscope for the first time and setting it up. To start off with, I've turned it on right here, and on the screen I have the green trace line. Sometimes it doesn't always appear. That's because the intensity is set all the way down and it disappears. You have to make sure the intensity is set up. The higher the value or clockwise, the brighter it gets. And the next one down is focus, so I can keep it focused, and it's hard to see on the screen, but basically I focus it to a nice straight line. I have a horizontal position, and what happens is it will sometimes disappear off the screen, up or down. So I'm just going to make sure that's set in the center, and it's set at the 0 along there. I have magnification. I want to make sure the magnification is not depressed, so it's out, so it's at ×1. I'm going to check the channel, so here there's channel 1. And down at the bottom here, I have my oscilloscope probe, which goes out, and that is what the probe looks like. This here will be the end that you're going to test with. That goes clipped on to negative. Okay. On my scales for my voltage division, I have them set for 5 volts. That means that that's 5 volts, 10 volts, 15 volts, 20 volts. Or the minor divisions would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. If I change the division to 2 volts, it just means that it goes 2 volts, 4 volts, 6 volts, 8 volts. Okay. The last thing on here is this variable knob has to be clockwise, and that just basically gives me my maximum voltage setting. Okay. So you need to ensure that is all the way up, otherwise you don't get the correct voltage readings. Okay. This is channel 2, this is channel 2, this is channel 2 we won't worry about because we're only testing one channel. On here I've got AC and DC. I'm going to check DC, so it's over to DC. I got this normal invert. I want to make sure normal is depressed, so it's not pressed in. I have a trigger level up here. I want it centered. I have a position sideways, so I'm going to make sure that it's in the center so the line shows up all the way. I have a variable that I'm not going to touch, but it is going to be all the way to the clockwise position. I have a variable calibrate. I'm going to make sure that it is out, that it's on calibrate. I have a time magnification. So I want it depressed, so it's not at 10, it's at 1. And here's my time delay. And you can see the lower I go, it becomes a line. I want it to be a straight line, so I'm going to leave it at at 1 millisecond. I want the mode here to be auto. I want the trigger source to be channel 1. Those are all the settings I need for basic operation. Now to see if it works, I take my oscilloscope probe. I have a 9-volt battery. I'll touch the alligator clip to the negative and clip it on. I will now take probe and touch the positive, and you can see how the voltage goes up, and it's almost off the screen. That's because I have it on the 2-volt scale. So I read 2 volts, 4 volts, 6 volts, 8 volts. So this battery isn't charged. If I go to the 5-volt scale, you see now that it reads on the screen 5 volts and then 6, 7, 8. Okay. If I take the variable and I turn it down, you'll see that the voltage goes down. This isn't very useful, so you ensure that it's all the way up, turn to the right, and it clicks into place. That is basically how you check and use the oscilloscope, okay, and all the basic settings to make sure that it's going to work the first time around. This concludes the video.